Hello, good new year. This is my first live for us. Live, it's called live for this year, and I hope you had a great start of the year. And I think I'm live on YouTube, and I haven't been that before. And I do that because I can then share it to other pages. I'm TB, your career development coach or career transition. That should be changed, I think. But here we are. I have some cool things to talk about today, and I'm that I gladly want to share with you. And he's gonna jump right into it. The topic is my new job. I started a new job today, and I wanted to talk about how I got it. I think I will not talk about what it is and what I do or will do. But this is just a good tip that I just found. It was from a free video from Andrew Lachivita, and yeah, I'm not connected to him in any way, but he's a career coach, and I think he's a really good one, helping you with finding a job, writing a CV, and with the interview. And that's not quite what I do. I do that also, but my main focus is for career transition, to help you with your strengths and your values and what you really want to do in your life, to create a new life based on who you are and who you want to become in the future. That is more what I do. It's more like how, as I see it, a holistic way. It's not about the details, getting from a new job or getting a new job. For me, it's more like creating a new life, creating a new work life. So that's different. Okay, but Andrew said it's something really interesting and something really valuable that I could use for my interview. And when I prepared for the interview for this job, I just thought about these things, and those really helped me. So first, it was to that you know what you're doing. You also have to know yourself, and that you get the value that you can contribute, and why you are qualified to do it. That's basically what the recruiters are interested in. And then I won't go into all the details about that. There's much more to talk about it, and also what Andrew does. I have some of his resources. So yeah, that was the first thing I wanted to share about my job, and that I'm very glad for. And I started today, and I was really excited. And I will be. I think this is a great start of the new year, but it was pretty like a slow and silent start, because many people are on vacation still, and many people are kind of slow now at the beginning of the year here in Finland, where I am, because it's so dark and quiet. So yeah, a little bit more about what some of the books I have read this year. I will just shortly share about them, because there are so many. I have like 10 books here now or something. They're in Swedish. But the first one is this one is called Beslutsfällan. I don't know I hope it's not mirrored, that you can read it. If you cannot read Swedish, you can probably understand. But it's about a little bit cognitive biases and decision making, and to understand human behavior. It's like behavioral science and psychology, that you understand, and that what are the things that influences your behavior. And this one was really good. They go through a couple of traps that are very, very common in everyday life. This one is about G.W. Persson, and this is like a biography of this famous criminal. He's a criminal, not a criminal, but he's what is it called? Criminalare. He isn't a police, but he has studied criminology and catches the bad guys. say that, like that. He solves crimes, and yeah, those of you who know him, you know him, and he has a really interesting life story, because he has done like a class shift from middle class to the real top class in Stockholm, where he moved to, and got he earned a lot, and he, and worked his way up in the social classes there in the capital of Sweden, which is pretty rough there. And then we have this other book about this one. This one is one of the best books I read last year. It's a really I cried a lot of times when I read this book, because it's so sad. The story of these two guys is so sad. They were accused for murdering this guy Kevin, and it was really a scandal, because they had what they call a waterproof alibi, and so they are not guilty. They are innocent, but everyone in the police, the Swedish police were, or not the police, it was this one person that was in charge of the investigation, just needed someone to be guilty, and he chose a reality where these two guys were guilty, and then he searched for evidence that it was true, that would support them. And it's just the pressure and these two guys were on, and the families, how they were pressured, and also how one person if you just decide for something, decide for a reality, how you can go into that decision, how into that story, and just go like it's so bizarre how you can, and in also afterwards that you deny, even though the evidence talked for a different solution, and how you can still deny it and just keep on your own self. It's so frightening how that you can, if you are connected to your own story, to some event, to some thoughts, to feelings, that you are fusioned with them, and that you make that reality real, which is based on a lie, or just your own opinion or your own validation, and then innocent people suffer, or other people suffer from that. That's really frightening, and it's doesn't have to be that this is this is an extreme situation, but people do this all the time about their career, and how they see people, or how they criticize people, or how they judge people based only on their own beliefs and their own narrative, and those stories that they talk about, that they share or believe. So it's for no good, but perhaps we all do that, create our own reality, and keep to our stories and narratives, and such things, and it's not really good. So that's something that I really always challenge when I see a client that has some kind of story that he or she cannot look at objectively, or cannot we work with diffusion, that you diffuse yourself from the story or event or feeling or thought that you believe are true, that might get what you want, but other people suffer, or it's not. You have to see the whole picture, the holistic solution, what's best for you and others. And then next book is this book Monster. This is a Swedish version, also self-biography about Cody Scott, or Monster, as he was called, rest in peace. And I have a lot of notes or saved pages here in this book that I really want to share more about this book. I will just quickly just share it now. But he was a really special guy, and he passed away for not so long ago. But you can this book is not only interesting about his life, but his life was very interesting. It also talks about the West Side, East Side, Crips, and I forgot the other ones, Crips and Bloods, Blood, yeah. And so about the society and about the gang violence and how in a way how it shifted from personal level to a more like a broad societal level afterwards, and how it also continues today, and which I didn't know, that just it grows and grows, and it's like a war within the nation, and that's also sad to see. And then another book in Swedish, which I read last year about brain focus. It talks about the autopilot and the focus mode that you can have, let's say. And this book is basically about meditation, but this guy Johan calls it calls it something differently. He talks about meditation, but he has his own terms for it. And yeah, one thing I remember from this was interesting, that when you are just in daydreaming mode, you just don't think about anything. Your brain activity is very high. So if you're just sitting there like meditation, I will not think of anything. I will just be letting my thoughts and mind go free float. Then your mind is very active, and if you focus on one thing using your cognitive functions, it's actually less active because you are focusing on one task. So if you are just sitting and doing nothing, you are perhaps not recharging. Your brain is very active by doing that. And then I have 4 books left, and the next one is this one, Healing the Shame That Binds You. This is a classic best-selling by best-selling author John Bradshaw, and I think he also passed away. Rest in peace. This is a really good book, and I also want to share more about this, and I do the exercise in it. It's about how shame is a normal feeling. Some people have more problems with it, and all people have more or less problems or feelings of shame. If there's something wrong with you if you haven't experienced shame in your life, because it's a feeling that keeps us alive, keeps us inside the group and with our tribe. There's so much to talk about that one also, so I won't share anymore. And then I have this one, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. This one is also great that I did practice. I also have some saved pages here. What I remember from this one was to keep track of your time and your activities, and if you have to write them up, if you have to take notes about every time you go on social media or your email, you will realize, do I really want to do it that often? It's like the idea is that if you know exactly what you do, only then you have the opportunity to do something about it. But as long as you don't know what you actually are doing, you cannot do anything about it. So I agree with that, but of course, but then I'm also aware of that. It's not enough that you are aware of your self-awareness. You actually know what you're doing. That doesn't make you change. That doesn't make that. That doesn't. You cannot. Even if you take a decision and cautious decision that I will change, it will not happen by itself. So it's not enough that you know about what you're doing, your activities, exactly what you do, and then you just decide I will change. It's not that easy. You have to make a decision, but you have to do the work also after that. And then the next book that I have had for a long time, Atomic Habits by James Clear. That this one is really, really great. I don't know why I read it last year. I have had it for a couple of years at least. This one is really good in that sense that it's much about learned habits and behaviors, and what is it called? Pavlov's. He talks really well about basic psychology and behavioral science about conditioning, different types of conditioning that there is, and that is like if you have read basic psychology, you know about them, all those three types of conditioning. But he takes it to a next level, to a modern day level, and also explains it in a interesting way and how you can work with it. He doesn't just explain it; he also shares about how you can work with it and do things to change your behavior. So it goes very well with this compound effect that you start small and improve 1% every day or every time amount. Like say, it could be a week, it could be a month. But if you improve 1%, it's also mentioned here, or like one of his James' core theories is about 1% better every day, and there's a graph of where you will end up by doing that for 1 year. 1% each day for 1 year, you will get like a logarithmic scale, and if you get 1% worse every day, it will slowly go down. It's not it goes the positive upwards is much more higher than downwards, but it goes to zero basically. And then the last book that I will share about this one is also in Swedish, Förnuft och fördom. It's called The Enigma of Reason in English, and this one is pretty long, and it's philosophical but also scientific. It was really good explaining about human behavior. I also want to share more about this one. This one was really opened my eyes for different. It opened my eyes for, let's see, for everyday decision making, and that people are talking about things in a way that is not correct. It's based on a presumption that something works in this way when it actually doesn't. It seems logical that it would do, but it actually doesn't. So that was really quite eye-opening. But it's difficult to say what is the reason. But some people are too certain about society, like things in society, like social sciences that studies society, and that's very popular now in society, that people talk about societal things and injustice and diversity and everything that is related to those things, and they have like clear answers and they have strong opinions. And from reading how humans behave and also how animals and insects behave, you can see that it's not very logical and rational, and it's often a different explanation than people give. Some people that say you cannot study animals and insects and from them say anything about human behavior, but I don't think that's correct. You can see things there. You cannot explain too much, but we are more alike than that some believe. But it's not about is it correct or not. It's more about if some person have studied something that is maybe controversial, something new, or or there are other reasons why they don't like this person. Anything this person does just will be declined and said that this is wrong and it's not correct, and it's more about they don't trust and like this person, so they just will look at this person critically, and then nothing will be really of value what this person shares and studies, even though he might be an intellectual, or he might be doing it in a very scientific way. But that's how it always been. Like some new thinkers and that does these paradigm big shifts, they are always criticized and hated because they think they are wrong. Look, for example, when who was it, Copernicus, or that changed from the paradigm shift that Earth is not flat, it's round, for example. When they made the combustion engine, they laughed at that person, and always new inventions, new theories, new things that will create a paradigm shift, they will criticize them and hate them or laugh at them. So that's what history shows us. So what you actually should do is to follow and listen to those people that are criticized, hated, and laughed at, especially laughed at, because they might be those persons that shifts the world and make the new paradigm shifts, because they are always happening, even today. Because why not? Because that's what history has showed us. So you make a choice. Who do you want to listen to? Who do you want to follow? Don't do it blindly. Always criticize yourself and use critical thinking, but just don't assume that because everyone laughs at this person, that or group of person or this theory, that it's automatically wrong. Just think about it, like what does the history look like, and maybe something worth to investigate or study, because it often is wrong, but it might also be correct. And if you are the first one that can make the shift, you could possibly have an advantage there. But don't be the really first one, because the really first one doing something will often lose. Be the second or third one if you make some today. So I just hope you have a good start of the year, and that you will have a good week, and you are feeling well. And I wish you wellness, success, and happiness and meaningfulness, just like in mindfulness, just like they do in mindfulness. I'm out.